Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Phil Switch podcast. I'm Phil Carew, and I'm joined by my fearless co-host, Brock Tamarino. The Phil Switch podcast is brought to you by Sal's Tire Caps. Sal's Tire Caps. King Kong ain't got nothing on Sal's Tire Caps. Brock, I'm a little bit excited about the show today. We actually just have an interview. And Brock, I want to ask you, are you familiar with what the producer and I were talking about when you came into the studio?
Vaguely. I mean, I've heard some mutterings, maybe the past day or so, just being on the internet, but not extremely familiar with what you guys were talking about. Apparently, we're doing some interview with some guy that made some type of prosthetic.
Yeah, so let me catch you a little bit up to speed, and I'll have the producer put a picture up here of the event of the individual I'm talking about. But okay, so apparently in Ontario, Canada, there is a Canadian high school teacher, goes by the name of Kayla Lemieux. Now, this high school teacher is a transgender individual, and right off the bat here, I want to say this isn't like a political thing at all. I actually talked with the producer about this story because I find it kind of comical. And Brock, the reason I find it comical is because this high school teacher had prosthetic breasts made, and the breasts are quite large, comically large. That's actually why I picked this. And the high school is actually called Oakville Trafalgar High School. Producer put some notes up here for me. And like I said, it's in Ontario. So the producer was able to track down the individual that actually made these prosthetics for this high school teacher. And like I said, I'll put an image up here of the teacher just so you guys, for the people that are watching on YouTube and Rumble, you guys can see what we're talking about. For those just listening to the podcast, maybe go look this up for the image on your own. But anyway, Brock, without further ado, let's bring this individual on that actually manufactured these prosthetics. This artisan, or is that what it's called? Artisan? I don't know. I'm not sure how that stuff's actually referred to. But anyway, producer put the name up on the screen. Looks like it's Jacob. Jacob, welcome to the Phil Switch. I have all types of questions, Jacob.
Oh, hey, yeah. Phil, don't take no offense to it, but it's actually pronounced Jacob. Jacob is my name. Yeah, I got a little prosthetic shop down here over in Canada, Ontario. And I made those prosthetic bosoms for the lady teacher there, or I guess it was a guy, now a lady teacher. And so ask away. I'll let you know what I can tell you. I'll let you know if something's confidential then.
All right. Well, I got to be honest. Some of the confidentiality seems gone at this point, since you've confirmed that you are the gentleman that made these prosthetics. So let me ask you this: what kind of, just to give us an idea, like what kind of prosthetics do you usually make at your store?
Oh, geez, I make all kind of prosthetics at my shop. Now, I will say this is the first set of bosoms I've made. I make prosthetic noses. I make prosthetic beaks, prosthetic talons. Let's see, what else? I make some prosthetic paws sometimes for dogs that get hurt.
Jacob, so do you make, is the majority of the production you do, is it prosthetics for animals? Is it prosthetics for humans?
Oh yeah, this will only be my second time I've done a prosthetic for a human. I usually make animal prosthetics. Yeah, just give the little animals some confidence. Maybe sometimes it has to do with helping them get around a little bit there when I make the dog paws, things like that there. But mostly I cater to the animal folk. And so this is my second human prosthetic. I was real excited when the guy came in. He said, money's no issue. I just want some bosoms, he said. So yeah, that's basically what I deal in most of the time. So Jacob, if you can answer this, I'm very curious. What was the consultation like? Did you offer any suggestions, any feedback? Did you have any type of I mean, aside from just human um, experience, did you have any other type of experience or guidance to help you uh, manufacture, craft these prosthetics? Oh well, I have seen some films in my time. Now nothing real bad, just stuff got out of Hollywood movies, things like that. Just like you said, human nature. I'm kind of familiar with with the canvas, so to speak, there. And yeah, he came in and he said to me, I remember it like it was yesterday. It wasn't too long ago, actually. He came in, he said, "Sir, I think I like some of those bosoms, but I want them large." And I said, "Well, sir, I usually do animal stuff." And he's looking over at the cow's gutter, see? And he said, "Oh, you get me." He said, "Sir, if you could make me bosoms the size of them gutters, I'd be happy." And I said, "Well, sir, I think I can do that because I made those gutters right there. You're looking at the cow or gutters. I call them gutters, udders. The cow udders over there." I said, "Yeah, I can do that." I said, "Now those udders over there, they ain't gonna look quite natural on you." I said, "For one, they're quite large." And I said, secondly, they have, they got I don't know how to say this. They got they got like more nipple things there. And the guy said, "Oh, just take the rest of them off there, leave one on each side, eh?" I said, "Well, I can do that. That's no problem. I mean, that's my job. That's what I get paid to do, Customer's always right." I said, "Well, do you want me to just give you those and lop those other nipples off there, or do you want a custom pair?" And I tell you right now, the guy said, "Oh, I like a custom pair." Now, I said that is gonna cost a little extra because I got some right there. I could just do a real quick little alteration job there for you. But if you want a custom job, I can do that for you. There's nothing Jacob can't do, I suppose. But it is gonna cost you a little bit more, and I'm gonna have to know the size you want.
So, what size? I mean, what size was the guy asking for you? You pointed to cow's udders?
Yeah, I pointed the cow's udders there, and he said those are about the right size there.
So what size would that be if you were to make a bosom prosthetic the size of a cow's udder?
Oh, now that's one thing I can't tell you guys. That part is confidential there. I can't tell the size. Because for one, it's a confidentiality thing, and secondly, it's custom. So I can't give those measurements away because then somebody else is going to ask for them, and then this guy doesn't have a custom job anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. Okay, so he says the cow udders are about the right size, but obviously he can only have a single nipple, and on each one. So how did you go about so what's that process like? Well, yeah, so I had to make a mold, so I had the mold from the udders, right? But he gave me a custom size, so I had to kind of finagle that a little bit. And what I did was I left the udder, the nipple part off the udder there, right? And I got the mold, and then I stretched it just a little bit there because I can't tell you the size, but he actually asked for just slightly bigger than the cow's udder there on each size. And then what I did was
Now, you might be getting to this, Jacob, but I noticed in the picture that our producer was able to put up, the nipples are quite pronounced. I mean, they're almost like poking through the shirt. I mean, they're poking the shirt, but they're almost like poking through the shirt. You can almost see the shirt asking for mercy there. What did you use for the nipples?
Oh yeah, so basically, okay, so the body of the piece that I make, or the pieces, I guess there's two here. The body of the pieces is kind of like I guess in layman's terms, kind of like a rubber type of material there. And then now to get the nipples, just like the guy asked, he said he wanted them very pronounced. So what I had to do was I took some of that rubber, and then what I did was I took these little like basically what I did is I took a wine cork there, see, and now I was able to carve the wine cork just right there, so it fit right into the rubber part there, just how it should. And then, wouldn't you know it, they're pushing. Now I had to run some tests here, so I have some mannequins. So I put the prosthetic on the mannequin, and I would put the shirt on the mannequin, and I would take a picture of it, and I'd send it to the fella. And I tell you, I went through those corks. I probably went through about, oh geez, let's see here. I had to go through about a dozen prototypes here, because he said the nipples aren't pushing out quite enough there, Jacob. And I said, well, I can do that for you. Just give me, maybe another couple hours here. I'll carve some more corks down and see what we can't get in there. I mean, he was very, very specific there. He wanted the very specific in that he wanted the nipples to really jut out there. He said I want to almost have them jutting through my shirt. He said. I was like, well, I can do that for you. If there's anything Jacob can't do, I haven't found it yet. I said, well, there was one job that a guy came in asking for something awful weird, but that was more based on principle. I didn't do that job, but anyway, so I ran what I say, about a dozen prototypes there, and I finally got the one. I got the shirt on it, and the cork nipples were almost just pushing right through. You could see the shirt begging for mercy. And the guy said, that'll do. He came in and he talked to me for about 5 or 10 minutes, asking me the process, just like you guys are doing here. And he said, now, Jacob, I got one more question for you. He's like, I really want to have a name for this pair here. And I tell you, I said, I've been thinking about that. I said, because I kind of give a name to all my stuff that I do, like there was a prosthetic paw I made that for a dog named Joe, and I called those Joe Toes. So that was pretty creative on my part. The owner really liked that, thought it was funny, even ended up going with that, and I stamped it on the bottom there. But so I was thinking, I was like, well, looking at the prosthetics on the mannequin, they hang down pretty low for what you said you wanted. And the guy's like, yeah, they're perfect. And I said, well, we could call them the Granny Twofers. And he said, oh, no, I don't think I like that. He said, it makes me seem old. I said, well, you got them almost, well, how you had me make them, they're almost touching your waist anyways. But that's fine. And so he went through a couple names. I went through a couple names. And the last name I gave him, and I think he went with it, he had me put a stamp on one of them. He said, save the stamp just in case I decide to change the names there. Maybe I want to name one different than the other. So I said, what about the Ontario Droopers? And the guy seemed to like that pretty well. He said, I do like that. That's not a bad idea. And he had me stamped that, I believe, on the left prosthetic there. I stamped Ontario Droopers right on there. I don't charge any extra for that, of course. I don't charge them for coming up for a name either. Just something I kind of like to do, And so I stamped Ontario Droopers out, and he walked away. And about 3 days later, I saw him on the news. So actually, you know what? The Fill Switch is the first place that's reached out to me to talk to me about some of my work.
Wow. The Ontario Droopers. I kind of like that, Jacob. So Jacob, what do you charge for a job like that?
Oh, that's another confidential thing there, Brock. I don't typically talk about price because, everybody, kind of has their own thing they want. And then I don't want to say, well, I don't want somebody coming in and being like, well, I heard you on the Fill Switch there, and I heard the price you gave the Ontario Droopers for those, and I would kind of like to have a price that myself. Or they come in and they say, well, I saw the Ontario Droopers that you made there, and I heard on the Fill Switch you charge so much, and I want just a couple sizes down from the Ontario Droopers, so I think I should pay you this much. And of course, they're going to hack the price off. They're going for a smaller prosthetic there, or prosthetics. I keep just saying a single prosthetic, but they're actually two. So that's kind of confidential too, Brock. So sorry, maybe off air I'll kind of give you an idea what I charge. I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell you everything there. So yeah, that's a confidential part. I can't tell you the size or the price. Yeah.
So, so what other? I think you said you made a nose, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I made a nose.
So was that the other? Was that your first prosthetic project you had done, like for like a human body part?
Yeah, that's that was the first one I did. I did it for a I actually did it, well, technically, to be honest with you, that's a lie. These two bosoms were actually the first human prosthetic I did. I actually did the nose. I did that as a prosthetic for a dummy, ventriloquist. His doll, he had dropped him on the ground after a show one night, and he broke his nose right off. And he came into my shop. I got referred. I didn't catch the feller's name that referred me, but sent this ventriloquist guy into my shop and asked. He said, "I got this dummy here, and it's my favorite dummy. Is there anything you think you can do, Jacob?" He called me Jacob, of course. And I said, "Well, sir, I don't want to insult you, but my name's Jacob, and yeah, I think I could do that up. I think I did that probably in about I want to say if that didn't take me." That probably took me just a couple of days. He was easy. I did 2 prototypes, I want to say, of that one. And he was real happy with the work I did, so I sent him on his way, and his dummy had a nose, and he was real happy.
All right, so if you, I'm just trying to think, like, you're used to doing prosthetics for animals. So what was your thought when this guy came in? I'm sorry, this lady came in and she asked you to do prosthetic bosoms. What was your reaction?
Oh, well, at first I was a little bit surprised. I never done it before. I mean, that was most of my surprise, to be honest with you. And it was odd getting a request for prosthetic bosoms for a guy that was, a lady, quite a bit taller than I was. And I just remember when they were in the store, when she was in the store and talking to me, every time I offered a suggestion she liked, she just says something like, "That'll do." Or it wasn't that, it was a little bit deeper than that. "That'll do." It was a real deep voice, deeper than mine, deeper than Phil's a little bit, maybe right around yours, Brock. But so that was a little bit odd. I kind of felt like I was, I don't know, kind of felt like a dream. It was a little surreal. And yeah, she I think the weirdest thing is she really kept eyeballing them cow udders. And that's why I stayed on the cow udders so much. I was like, "You really like those udders? Do you want them those size?" And I think it was kind of like an envy thing,
Yeah, an envy thing because you said she actually had the prosthetics made larger than the cow udders. Is that correct?
Yeah. She wanted them. She was very adamant. She said they need to be larger than those udders. And I was really tempted to ask why, but customer's always right. So I just go about making my things. I took the measurements, and it was. I mean, really,
And sorry about the abrupt cutoff of Jacob there, but we had an alarm going off in the studio that our producer had to tend to and take care of. So we had to shut everything down, but we are back again. So Jacob, I believe you were answering Brock's question about the cow udders and the prosthetics and how that all came to be and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so no, really it was kind of difficult getting through everything, with the different prototypes and especially the nipples. But overall, pretty simple project once I got kind of moving on it and stuff. Like I said, the nipples were the big thing, trying to get them just right so they really jutted that shirt out but didn't go through, and just trying to make the customer happy there.
So let me ask you this. Did you ever see Kayla, Mrs. Lemieux, with the prosthetics on? Do you have to see? You only worked with animals before, but do you have to see the subject with them on to know like do you get that type of do you give that type of consultation, like, oh, they look good, or
oh yeah, no, I had her try them on right there. I said, if you don't mind, I get, obviously I didn't stand there and watch them, but I had her go in the dressing room. She came out. She had probably one of the tightest shirts I've ever seen on. And, like I said, they drooped right down to her waist, just like she had asked for them. The nipples were almost pushing the shirt, 2 holes through the shirt. And I said, well, they look different. I'll give you that. And I just remember a couple tears came out of her eyes. She said, they look perfect. These are just the bosoms I'd always hoped for. I always thought if I was a lady, I wanted, first thing I want is bosoms that go almost down to my waist. And she said her only regret is that she didn't have the bosoms go down to her knees. And we both kind of got a laugh out of that, but she said she was kind of serious too. Yeah, I could see why that would be be a regret in the large, the big scheme of things. I could see why not having your new prosthetic bosoms go to your knees would be the regret you have in that situation. Can we bring the image up again from our producer? See how they don't quite go down to the knees. That's the regrettable part. Okay, well, Jacob, is there anything you can think of that we haven't asked that was kind of interesting about that particular project? Well, I tell you, they said she was in manufacturing technology, which I think in the States here you guys call shop class. And I said, well, are you worried about those getting in the way of a saw or anything? And she didn't seem to be too worried. She said she's real handy with the saw and all the tools there. And I just remember I made a little joke. I said, well, don't get them caught in the lathe then. I don't want them, you don't want them flattened out there or smashed or anything.
Yeah, seeing the cow udder-sized bosoms in a lathe would probably be the traumatic part for the children there at the school. So that's good advice. Good advice there, Jacob.
Yeah, well, I try. I just want to make sure the customer's happy.
All right, Jacob. Well, we appreciate you coming on, telling us about that experience. Very enlightening, and everything I thought it would be, Jacob.
Oh, yeah, anytime, guys. If you guys have any more questions or anything, have your producer or one of you guys get a hold of me, and I'll answer whatever I can.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. So, Jacob is gone. Brock, what did you think about that?
After seeing the image and hearing Jacob's story about the process, everything makes a lot more sense to me. It makes a lot more sense. That's, as far as that goes, that's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you have any questions for us, make sure to email us. Email us at the philswitch@gmail.com. That's the philswitch@gmail.com. Guys, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, make sure to check out my other podcast, The First and 15th, which I co-host with Kaplowitz Media. You can find him at kaplowitz.xyz. Guys, we wish you all a great week, and we will see you again soon here at the Phil Switch.